What's up, everybody? My name is Ryan Turford, and today is Friday. You know what that means? Another Let's Play right here on youtube.com/Ryan Turford. Today is our final playthrough of Super Metroid. Basically, we actually started last week. We got through the first half of the game, and we got to Phantoon. We killed Phantoon. We hate Phantoon with a passion because he sucks. He's a bit of a jerk. But now that we've killed him, we're basically now going to make our way to Turian, and then we're going to go destroy Mother Brain. If you like this video, like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that fun stuff that the YouTubers do with all the widgets and the who's-its and whatever. You know, I'm just speaking old man speak at this point. So basically, we're in the wrecked ship, which is where we left off last time. Again, you see where the little X is down in the bottom right-hand corner. That's where we killed the boss. The wrecked ship is a very short area. We had basically just started it the last time. But the wrecked ship is a very important place to go because it'll actually give us the gravity suit, which will allow us to go underwater. I mean, we could go underwater already, but it won't impede our movements or anything like that. And our lives will be so much easier because of it. Of course, since this room has metal doors, we are actually required to murder everyone in this room before the game will allow us to proceed. And in fact, what you're actually going to see me do here is to make sure we don't have to kill all these enemies again. I'm going to open all the metal doors because basically the second we go out and go back in, any of the metal doors that we didn't previously open will stay metal and will not actually allow us to open them again until we kill all the guys in this room again, which is a pain because they're very easy enemies to kill, but they're just annoying. So here we're back outside anyways. The rain, of course, cleared up from when we first started the game. So basically here in this area, there are a couple secret passageways. Like, basically below us, you'll see some passageways. We can bomb our way through here, and this is actually how we're going to get the gravity suit. So again, we could farm here. But I think we're actually okay for health because we're actually going to pick up an energy tank in a little bit. So we don't really need to worry about our health too much. Plus, I don't feel like we're going to die. First of all, if you watched last week's playthrough of this game, you do know that I am saving a little bit. Most speedrunners who speedrun this game, and by the way, I am no speedrunner, definitely not a speedrunner in any way. Most speedrunners will generally try not to save, and if they die at Phantoon, well, they basically start the game over again. We're not going to do that because that's less exciting than watching me actually beat this game. At least in my opinion, anyways. So basically here we just crawl into a ball, because usually the Chozos are holding an item. Now the Chozo is holding us, which is an item. I'm going to get Mr. Monokuma in the picture a bit because he actually wants to join us. Of course, it wouldn't be a video with me without Mr. Monokuma, of course, joining us in the back row here. So, of course, we're going to go down here, and this Chozo statue will actually lead us straight to the gravity suit. So, yeah, if you missed last week's video, again, go watch it. It's me playing the first, hour and 40 minutes of this game. Especially if you've never played Super Metroid before, or if you've never seen it. Maybe you weren't interested in Super Metroid before. Super Metroid itself is actually my favorite game of all time. I mean, it's one of those games that means so much to me overall. And that's not even the reason why I actually think it's my favorite game of all time. To be honest, if it was just because of that, I feel like I would like it for different reasons, or I would quantify it a little bit differently. But Super Metroid has everything I want in a game, as far as great exploration, exciting locations to go explore, really cool enemy design, great level and music design even. The sound design in this game, as I've mentioned previously, is incredible. It's definitely the game really that showed me how atmospheric storytelling can be used to your advantage. So basically here, what we're going to do, the reason we bomb that section and use the speed boost here is because we're actually going to get an extra item. We're actually going to get a reserve tank. Reserve tanks, as I mentioned last playthrough, basically, you see where it says auto next to my health. Basically, when my health runs out, the reserve tanks will actually heal me back up to full. So now we can actually go back this way, because now we are going to go back to the beginning of the ship, and this is really the fastest way of doing that. We could go all the way around again if we wanted to, but there's no real reason to do so. So as you can tell, it throws us out the door here, but since we have the gravity suit, this underwater area is way easier to navigate now, because we could just run all the way across there and just jump out rather than having to use the grapple beam to go all the way across. It's a big help for us anyways. Again, there's maybe 1 or 2 items we want to grab here before we want to leave. Let's see, I just want to confirm on my map. We want to go all the way up to the very top as well to get the item that's on there. Because the bottom door that's blue, right below the save station, is actually the entrance to Meridia, which we'll go to in just a second. So we'll actually be coming back here. It also does a little bit of a check because that area cannot actually be fully accessed without the gravity suit. You can actually access Meridia using the other entrance I showed you in Brinstar once you have the power bombs. But of course, for the most part, unless you're trying to speed run the game, you're not really going to want to go there without the gravity suit. Since, like I said, you're not going to be having a good day if that happens. So we're basically pushing these guys into the pits just so we can get through this area. Again, the wreck ship, pretty tiny place. I think it's actually a really cool location, especially when you first get here because the power is off, if you remember last time. And it's a really cool area to explore, even if it's not really that big. And then they sort of do that again with the sunken, like the abandoned ship that's in Metroid Prime as well, which is actually really cool. Like, it's such a great callback to this game. Although, one of the main criticisms I sort of have with the original Metroid Prime, as much as I love it, is that it almost feels like a lot of the areas are trying to be very much out of this game. Whereas this game was sort of an innovator for the series because while we went to Planet Zibis before in the original Metroid, it's not nearly as varied as this particular iteration of it. So now we're going to go down here. We're going to go straight to this area here because this will actually bring us right to Meridia, which is where we want to be. And like I said, that room back there, you wouldn't be able to properly navigate it without the gravity suit. Like, you wouldn't be able to jump over the little cliff there. So again, we could go straight through this door. That'll take us to where we're going. Or we could go up here and go explore up here. Once again, this area, very bad if you don't have the gravity suit. Of course, it's already done the principal check to make sure you have the gravity suit at this point, so it's prepared for it. And of course, as I mentioned, we were getting an E-tank, and there we go, there's our next energy tank. So now we have a full bar all the way across the bottom. So basically, the maximum number of energy tanks is twice what we have now. While I know where all the energy tank locations are, we're actually probably not going to do that unless this Let's Play, due to the fact that it is actually very time consuming to get all the items. Just like we're not going to get all like 250 missile packs. It's just not going to happen. And by 250 missile packs, I mean 250 missiles. As much fun as it is to have 250 missiles at your disposal in this game. I mean, you feel pretty damn overpowered as it is. So again, this is sort of us just leaving Criteria. Of course, we've got this really awesome music that really changed after the rain stopped on the outside when we finished the first area, where it's just totally dead silent. Of course, these red enemies we really don't have to deal with. We can shoot them and little enemies come out, but we don't really need to deal with them. Again, they're more there for farming items and whatnot, if you need to. So this little area is actually a bit of a maze. For the most part, we just have to use the morph ball to navigate around. Of course, usually the easiest option is just go straight all the way to the bottom. In case you're wondering why I'm actually still getting energy, I pointed this out last time, where the reserve tanks are there. You actually have to refill them manually using health you gain from enemies after you've reached full health. So we actually, we probably won't use the reserve tanks, but they're there as a failsafe. And even then, it's pretty easy to fill them if we need to. Alright, so here we got the yellow entrance, of course, Powerball entrance. We gotta use our power bombs and not our power balls. That's the lottery, kids. You gotta stay in school and not spend all your money on Powerball tickets. Alright, so now we're in Meridia for the first time. Basically, this is sort of... There's two halves to Meridia. There's the top half and the bottom half. This is the sandy... What's referred to as the sandy area of Meridia. Again, we're just saving just as a failsafe. And then there's, of course, a more traditional underwater area near the bottom. And we're actually going to travel to that area in just a bit here. Because that's actually where the next boss that we're going to fight is. We're going to need to go there. And we're going to get one of my favorite items in the whole game, the space jump, when we beat him. Now, when I first played this game, I didn't realize that, he was definitely, the next boss we're about to fight in a little bit, he was definitely the bane of my existence when I first played, because I didn't know how the fuck you were supposed to get past him. That was, of course, before I sort of memorized the location of a lot of the different items. Basically, he's very difficult if you don't have a certain number of missiles, most of which I just didn't know how to do at the time. Alright, so here's a very important area for later. We'll actually use it to get the plasma beam, which is actually Samus's most powerful weapon. Of course, the door is a metal door at this point because we actually have to beat the boss first before we can actually go to it. Despite the fact that you're usually not supposed to be able to make that jump without the space jump, but we can just use the wall jumps to make it. So here, we're actually going to use this shortcut to get us through all these pipes here, and you see that middle pink area, that's sort of where we're going to go to next. We just sort of have to navigate through here, because basically our other option would be to go all the way around to Brinstar from the wrecked ship, and we don't want to do that. That's going to take a while. Of course, this quicksand kind of sucks, and by the way, that's the Wii U Virtual Console menu. As I've sort of expressed before, the Wii U gamepad, very, very easy to trip up and press the wrong triggers when I'm trying to do stuff. Again, these sandy areas are way easier to navigate once we get the space jump. So this, basically, this tunnel will sort of lead us back to Brinstar if we want to go there. And again, we will actually go back to Brinstar a little bit later on. Well, we're going to go down here to, first of all, collect some things. I believe this is actually just a save station. Oh, no, sorry, the map room, which, of course, we're going to want the map. There we go. So that just is the whole map of Meridia. We're not going to look at it now. We probably will in a bit. Again, it's sort of to prevent us from getting lost. To be honest, as I mentioned, I've sort of memorized most of the doors and the map, so. And of course, we've got the rad music that we heard in the red area of Brinstar, because that's actually where we're basically going to come out here. And as mentioned, we're going to actually go to the tunnel, the glass here, that was basically the product of the marketing campaign for this game. And again, something you wouldn't have really thought of, that you could actually destroy this particular area with power bombs, unless, of course, you had actually seen that commercial or knew a guide or something like that. I mean, it's just so weird because it's really the only actual destructible environment in this game, and it just is a one-of-a-kind thing that's so cool. So of course this sort of brings us back to where we just were. Of course we're not going to go that way. Out of all of the music though in this game, I think this is actually probably the music that's grown on me the most. Again, I talked in the last Let's Play about the Red Soil music in Brinstar as well as probably being my favorite in the entire series. But I also really have a soft spot for the music that's in this area as well. It's just so unnerving, and it definitely fits with the underwater vibe that it's got going on here. Like it's like you're just underneath the sea, essentially. Now those space pirates are weak to missiles, but they're also weak to the plasma beam, which we just don't have yet. There we go. So these enemies can actually be hooked onto using the grapple beam. And you can swing all the way around them if you want to. They're basically used to get to the different platforms. Of course, we don't want to swing all the way around. Come on. Damn it, Samus. Alright, let's try this again. The fact that even though I'm holding all the way down on the D-pad, the fact that she can't actually start rotating until she gets to a certain point is kind of crazy. Of course, I am playing this like a fool at the moment. I apologize. Nope, 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 nope. Alright, we're gonna just go the traditional way. I'm going to go all the way over here. Dead fishy. There we go. I knew there was a way to do it. Sorry, I'm a bit rusty as far as a lot of these other extra areas are concerned. So again, once again, that sort of brings us back to Brinstar. We don't really want to go there just yet. That sort of brings us near where Kraid's lair was. Alright, so we're going to do it right this time. We're just going to swing across. And try and swing across and then fail miserably. Today is not my day with the grapple beam. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Again, we could have gone all the way there, but no real reason to risk it. There we go. Whew. That was just me being really bad with the grapple beam. Promise that'll probably be the last time you have to see me be really, really, really bad with it. Because of the fact that we're not really going to use it Like, we'll use the grapple beam again, but not to the extent of going through really, really dumb areas like that again. So again, there's sort of the entrance to get back to the sandy area if we want to go back there. But we actually want to go down here, because this will actually bring us through the rest of this pinkish area. So I just love the fact that the ice is sort of like iced over down here. Like, it's totally underwater, but everything here is like really, really, really cold. Like, it's just oozing with that, how cold it is. We're gonna go up here, boop, grab ourselves some missiles, just cause. As if we need more missiles at this point. To be honest, we really, really need like 120 missiles. Really realistically, and we're gonna get more than that even naturally at this point. So we're actually sitting pretty good for missiles. So you probably won't see me go for any of the extraordinary missile drops that are in this area anyways. Again, this area is mostly just for farming. Again, we can just sort of go back here. Now, we could, like a good person, use the grapple beam there. Of course, if you know how to wall jump, it's very easy to get around without it. Because even here, it'll actually be easier for us just to do this. If I don't screw it up, that is. God damn it. I'm not actually pressing, like, what actually breaks you out of it is if you press up on the D-pad. Of course, sometimes on the Wii U gamepad, it actually registers that I'm pressing up despite the fact that I'm pressing to the right. Alright, it's good. We'll actually just use the grapple beam. I just love the noise those little shell guys make. So here's our first introduction to Metroids in this game. Now, there are actually two types of Metroids. There are the ones that are in this area, which are actually very weak. And then there are actually stronger Metroids when you get later on in the game. Like, when we fight Mother Brain, you'll actually get to see the real deal Metroids. Of course, Metroid's famously very, very, very difficult to fight in the original Metroid game. So here is a mini-boss, a really dumb-looking snake dude. He's pretty easy to beat. For the most part, we can actually just use the charge beam. Since we are going to need our missiles for the big boss, which isn't actually too far off. We're actually pretty close. God, you dumb snake. Stop coiling around whenever I fire at you. Again, he doesn't really actually pose any harm to us as long as we literally just stand where we're standing now. And do absolutely nothing but fire at him. There we go. So we got all the health we'll ever need, so obviously our reserve tanks are full at this time. And we'll actually get one more reserve tank in a little bit. So we'll actually go back and grab that energy tank. It's pretty easy to get. All you have to do is sort of follow this maze here. When you get here to this section, it's actually a little bit of a trick. It actually wants you to jump there as opposed to fall through like I did there, unintentionally, of course. Also, this becomes way easier if you have the bomb jump, which we just don't have at this time. Again, you really can't get the bomb jump without defeating this boss first, though. So. I tried to run through there, but yeah, it's okay. So if you actually fall through the quicksand in that larger area, it'll actually bring you really, really, really far down, and it's a huge time sink. So you definitely do not want to be dragged down in the quicksand. So once again, we got more of these sort of docile Metroids. They're almost like the like teenage Metroids or whatever. They're not like full-grown Metroids. So here, we all are probably actually going to need to use the grapple beam in some areas. Generally, I try and stick to wall jumping as much as I can, just because it makes our lives a little bit easier. Again, the Metroids here can't even clasp onto you. Like they'll jump onto you and sort of drain your health, like Metroids do, but they will not actually. They will at least detach from you without having to use bombs, or at least exiting the area, because the later Metroids actually will stay attached to you until you physically leave the area that they're in. There we go. Of course, we usually do need to fire a little bit early. Again, a lot of times in this area, I don't even really use the grapple beam. And it is just a little bit finicky to grab. There we go. Of course, the grapple beam just nukes these Metroids. Now, the boss, we're actually about to go to the boss now. I actually usually go to this this save points because there actually will be a missile recharge station here, which is very, 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 very handy to have. Or a life recharge station, sorry. If we were, for some reason, low on health, which we're not. But I'm just saving because we're about to hit the boss, and this boss can hit like a truck sometimes if you aren't paying attention, or if you're doing stupid things like I have been doing for the last little while. So you would think that those spikes are dangerous, but they're not actually dangerous. They are, in fact, friendly spikes that are not actually there. So there's a hidden missile compartment. Again, the game sort of makes you think that there's actually nothing here, when in fact, if we go over to the set of spikes, the entrance right here is to the boss. Again, in Metroid lore after this game, basically every boss door has a little guardian like that. So for this boss, to make our lives a little bit easier, these cannons on the wall we're actually going to take out with missiles right at the beginning, because they will continue to fire at us throughout the whole fight if we do not do anything about them. So it actually just makes our lives a little bit easier with this boss. So of course we got these little guys that we saw earlier in Meridia, and of course they're about to summon their big mama, who's about to fight us. I just love the fact that the missiles actually cause a slowdown, and that cause him to basically just run into you. If you do get hit by these things, he will grab you, like so, and it does slow you down. So you, for the most part, you really can't actually... you can outrun him, but it is very, very difficult to do so. Also, those gray things, as you sort of saw, can actually be farmed for items as well, which can be handy to us. There we go, we avoided it. Again, the reason why you're actually seeing me use the missiles up first is because when those gray things come out, it's way easier to destroy them with the missiles than it would be to use super missiles, especially because it's a waste of super missiles. And I try and conserve the super missiles on this boss until he gets to his faster form near the end, since he will go really fucking fast, and we really only have to hit him a few times with super missiles, if anything. On this boss, I sort of keep them as a reserve in case we need them for whatever reason. So once again, we're caught here. We're still fine for life. He'll probably take off another block or so. But at the same time, we actually have our full reserve tanks. So essentially, we actually have 6 tanks when in fact the screen only shows 2. And there we go. See, he's down, and we didn't even have to use a single super missile. So of course, the little babies come to usher him away into the sand. And of course, as I mentioned, we're going to get one of my favorite power-ups in this game. One of the my most favorite power-ups in all of Metroid, the space jump. The space jump is a little OP, to say the least, because basically what it does is it basically makes Samus spin around like a crazy person. But if you do that, you can actually jump infinitely if you time your jumps correctly, which is a huge advantage for us. It basically means we can pretty much go anywhere, and weapons like the grapple beam, for example, are almost obsolete at this point. The grapple beam does have its uses still, but it's very menial at this point. Sort of like the X-ray scope, it sort of becomes meaningless if you know where a lot of the stuff is. So again, we're going to just quickly recharge our energy and, of course, save, just in case, say, the game crashes or something like that. Funny story, the other day I was doing a LEGO Dimensions live stream. I got through building all of the Legos, and we got through the first hour of the game, because it's like a 3-hour level pack, and the game crashed. And it didn't save any of our progress, including building any of the toys. I mean, we had obviously physically built them, but the game hadn't recognized that we had built any of the toys yet. So it was just like, it felt like just a wasted opportunity, because I wanted to go all the way with that and just play the whole game. So again, very careful with when I'm playing, because I try and save my games often, because you never know what'll happen to them. Although I've told this story before on the Game Moose podcast, which again you should listen to every single week. I co-host it every week with Drew McMillan. You can find all the deets below. Basically, I told the story of my Assassin's Creed 2 story, where basically I got to the very last mission in Assassin's Creed 2, saved because I actually had to go to school, came home, booted it up to finish the game, and all my saves were gone. There were no longer any saves associated with my profile. There were no longer any Assassin's Creed 2 saves on the system, and I was just like, well, I beat Assassin's Creed 2. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it at that point. I was just like, well, you know, whatever at that point. It's over. So we're going to sort of go back to the sandy area of Meridia, because we're actually going to want to get the plasma beam. As I mentioned before, it is Samus's most powerful weapon, so it's definitely something we're going to want to have. And then we'll actually take the chute that we took before back to where Brinstar was, because we're actually going to get the bomb jump as well, which is the other item that opens up once you beat this boss. The bomb jump is a very useful item to have, because it'll allow us to jump in bomb form, of course. Of course, the timing of the space jump can be kind of finicky sometimes. It is a very similar timing to the wall jumps as well. So if you know how to wall jump, it is a little bit easier to use. Of course, if we get hit once, we're out of it. There will be an upgrade that'll sort of alleviate that later, but we're not there yet. So again, see how difficult it is to take those guys out. Of course, these guys can't even be touched until we get the plasma beam. The plasma beam, again, most powerful weapon in the game. In fact, if you actually do the reverse boss order strat for this game, you can actually get the plasma beam early before you even fight Kraid or Phantoon, which actually makes those bosses a joke, especially Kraid, who you can actually kill before he actually stands up and is all tall and stuff. You can just kill him in like 2 or 3 hits. Also, you'll notice, first of all, when I kill shoot those enemies, it knocks them all out. But you'll notice that I'm actually firing 2 lasers now instead of 3, basically enabling the plasma weapon actually disables the spacer, which is the beam that actually splits it into 3 pieces. So we won't actually be using the spacer anymore. It's totally obsolete. Alright, so now again we're going to sort of go to this tunnel over here. And that tunnel will lead us back to the earlier section of Bridia. Once again, no real reason to open that with super missiles. We don't really need to do that. So again, these areas are sort of a cinch with the space jump. It is a lot more difficult to navigate that if you don't have it, which is why we don't come here right away. So there we go. So we will activate this secret passage by using our grapple beam there. And you could actually wall jump all the way up here if you really wanted to, if you didn't have the space jump, or if you are a crazy person and disabled the space jump, since that is the thing you can actually do in this game. So again, you could get the bomb jump if you really want to. Of course, we didn't really want to get it until after we got the plasma beam. Now, this is actually really cool design because, first of all, this area wouldn't actually open if we didn't use power bombs to destroy it. But you would normally think, hey, can I bomb this? Nope. You actually need this enemy to actually destroy the barrier for you to get through, which is just so cool. It sort of blew my mind the first time I saw that. I was like, holy shit, I never thought about that before. And again, this is also sort of Nintendo experimenting with different ways you can destroy environments. Something that is lost on a lot of modern games, or even games at this time as well. Because I remember like playing the original Red Faction, and that was something that was really special about that game as well, was the fact that you could destroy your environments. And it was really, like, Super Metroid was really one of the only games I remember that actually did that as a kid. Besides, say, like, destroying blocks in Mario or something, which isn't the same thing. So, of course, this is indicating to us that it will be way easier to navigate with our ball jump, called the spring ball in this game. I just call it ball jump because it's easier. So, basically, if we're in ball form, we can just press the A button to jump. Like so. I love the icon design too, how it's just like a little ball with a spring. Just so you know what you're getting yourself into. So now we've acquired all the items we sort of need before we go to Ridley. We might stop on the way to get a couple things, but for the most part we have everything we need to go fight him. And we just easily just run through all these areas. It's just such a breeze when you have the space jump. Like when I first got it, I couldn't believe it was a real power-up. it's so cool, especially because at that time I really hadn't mastered wall jumping the way I feel like I have now. It's just way, way, way easier to do it this way. Also, fun fact, these crabs are not nearly as difficult to kill now that we have the plasma beam. It just fucking just wrecks them. Again, we won't go get the map again. Surprisingly, we have the map already. So now we're back sort of in Brinstar. And again, this is sort of our last chance to go and get items before we go fight Ridley. Of course, we really don't need to get much else, so we're just going to go straight there. And for the most part, we're doing pretty well from missiles. Super missiles, we have more than half in the entire game. And then for regular missiles, we're doing fine. Our stock's a little bit low at the moment, but we can just replenish it before we get to Ridley, since we are probably going to need to. Since he can be a very difficult boss. So again, we finally now have the Norfair map, something that we hadn't actually had this whole time. Haven't really needed it. Again, I mostly got it so that it'll be a little bit easier to navigate through Ridley's place if we have the map than if we didn't. And if we go down there, it'll bring us to where we fought that dragon boss the one time. Again, no real reason to go down there. And the token save, I don't like game crashes. I don't. Now we're going to speed right through this area. We'll collect any missile power-ups that we are able to get from here. Of course, I didn't mean to press down, but the Wii U gamepad just likes to press down sometimes. Now this actually will bring us to the area we went to earlier. In case you're wondering, that little icon down there right below us indicating that there's an item. It's actually not an item, it's actually a energy recharge station, which we really don't care about at this point. Now, it's saying we haven't been in this room before. This is actually the room I refer to as the farming room, where literally all you do is farm for items in here. Again, we really don't need to farm. So, we'll have plenty of chances to do so before we get to Ridley. And the plasma beam not powerful enough to kill the lava guys, but we can just freeze them in place. And again, we're re-experiencing these areas that we thought were so difficult or annoying before even, but in fact they're just too easy to go through now. So of course this sort of toothy design along the bottom is sort of indicating to us that this is the area where we're now going to enter where Ridley is. Because if we go up here, I'll just show you real quick. That's how you can tell, like, it's Ridley's mouth right there. You're ready to go in. And that's sort of alluding to the original Metroid game, which actually did that quite well. Because actually, the boss areas for both Kraid and Ridley were actually their own areas of the map. So the area of the map for Kraid was actually referred to as Kraid, and had its own music and everything like that tied to it. And specific look and everything else, which is really cool. And this is sort of just harkening back to that, because we're about to go to basically the section before we fight Ridley, which is very, very, very much themed around Ridley, and is more a callback to the first Metroid game, which I just love. And we got those creepy looking alien heads. And now, of course, some of the best music in Metroid as well. The Laura Norfair theme. Also, the theme song to Magmoor Caverns in Metroid Prime as well. Which, again, a lot of people... That's where a lot of people know it from, especially if they've never played Super Metroid. Again, these guys we actually have to take out with the charge plasma beam. The regular one is not enough to kill them. Also, that's one of the reasons why you'll actually see people from time to time, especially speedrunners for sure, unequip the ice beam, because it actually, with the plasma beam, you actually make shorter work of enemies, if you actually don't have the ice beam equipped. Because these guys, for example, we could actually just kill in one charge hit if we didn't have the ice beam equipped, but since we do, it actually takes 2 hits. Now, this area, we've been sort of blessed with the gravity suit in other areas because it makes us immune to lava, but this is a different type of lava that Samus never has an immunity to. So if we go all the way over here, we're going to have a similar trick to when we got the gravity suit in the first place. We're actually going to put ourselves on this Chozo statue, who will open up the bottom area here. I just love that this lower Norfair area is just like one really big temple. That's like basically a temple to Ridley, which is so cool. Again, Ridley, he's one of my favorite Metroid characters. Kind of a shame that we don't have him in Smash, but I understand the developers' reasons as to why we don't have them. You know, being the fact that he's too fucking big, like physically big, to have on the ring. Also, I love the silhouette of the missile icon as we go through the door. It's just really cool. So, of course, makes you think there's a dead end here. It's no dead end. You just stand on the platform, and it drops you down. Now, we were dumb, because I knew that boss was coming, but I just stood there anyways. So when we fighting this boss again, he's a little more difficult this time, but not really. Especially since we have the space jump, and we can sort of jump over him if we want to. Again, he doesn't actually fire anything that can be farmable. Like last time where he fires the stupid energy, propeller shots. That said, he's a little bit easier this time because we have more power-ups and other things. Plus, he's a mini-boss this time. And now we get the item that makes the space jump complete. One of the most iconic weapons in all of Metroid, the screw attack. The screw attack basically turns our space jump into a wheel of death that basically will obliterate anything it touches, which is so cool. Like, and I thought that the space jump was awesome on its own, but with the screw attack, it just becomes so much more powerful. And it makes you feel powerful. That's what I really like about it. It's really tough for a game to really make you feel powerful, and really the screw attack is very good at that. So again, these areas would be really annoying. You'd have to freeze these guys if you didn't have the screw attack, but it's just so easy to just plow through them with the screw attack. So if we go up here, this will actually lead us back to the entrance. Of course, we're not really wanting to do that yet. And here, from now on, basically most of these areas are actually specifically designed around the screw attack, which actually made watching sort of the reverse boss order speedrun that they did at Awesome Games Done Quick just so much more impressive, because you can basically just completely... Yeah, like you have to run through this area without the various suit to protect you from the heat, or the screw attack, or even the space jump. So it gets way more crazy. So again, we don't want to go through here yet. I'm marking it on the map so we remember to come back here later. This basically is a shortcut to bring us out, but we're not trying to leave yet. So we can do that when we're ready to leave. So again, we just want to jump through this area. Again, it's very much a platforming area, very similar to the climb that's at the beginning of the game. Again, this will sort of be our way out, so we're actually going to not want to go here yet. Again, there are also some secret items in there, like a missile pack and some other things, but we're actually pretty fine for missiles when we go to fight Ridley, so it should be fine. So again, there's a save room in there, and in fact, it's actually our last save room before we go to Ridley, so I'm going to take the opportunity to save right now, because, like I said, just in case anything happens, I don't think we're going to die, but in case something happens, or in case the game crashes, or the power goes out in my apartment, or something like that. So of course here, we're just going to use the power bomb. Just jump down. Now again, this area is actually very much built around the bomb jump, and there are a lot of little areas in here that sort of show you that if you for some reason missed the bomb jump before, or the ball jump, you're going to want to go get it. And these guys seem pretty tough, but you can just run into them with the screw attack and they just get demolished. So we go, more power bombs again. For the most part, I try not to collect too many power bomb power-ups, unless we're going for a 100% run, since we don't really need them all too often. I mean, you don't need them against any bosses or anything. Alright, so here we've got some pretty special space pirates who will do some stuff. You have to actually attack them when they're in the air. Because basically they have to turn yellow before you can actually physically attack them. And they will only do that if you attack them in the air while they're spinning. They're like, hey, you can spin around, I can spin around too. Watch me spin. There we go. So they're down. They're probably the toughest enemies in this whole area, and that says a lot. Especially if you don't actually know that you're supposed to get them to jump and then spin and then shoot them while they're spinning. Of course, these enemies, as I mentioned, are very much about farming, in case you need missiles or power-ups or other things. Again, we pretty much are fine, and there is actually one more farming point before we get to Ridley, and we'll just fill up on everything when we get there. Again, this area is harkens very much back to the original Metroid, because this is sort of where this area is very much designed to look very similarly to the Ridley area from the original Metroid. Again, just another really awesome callback to the first game. Okay, we are full up on items, so let's go fight Ridley. And hope for the best here. So of course he's right there. We don't want to stand on top of him, because that would mean that we would die, and I don't like dying. Now again, this is sort of our rematch from the beginning of the game, although Ridley is way more difficult this time around. In fact, in my opinion, he's actually the most powerful boss besides Phantoon in this game. Mother Brain herself is not even as powerful as Ridley, I don't think. Just because, I mean, Mother Brain is more of a story fight and less about an actual, like, enemy that can deal a ton of damage to you. So basically our strategy is sort of to just keep our distance from Ridley. You can actually pigeonhole him into a couple spots where it's very easy to take him out, but for the most part, as long as we are in the air with the screw attack, he actually can't hurt us except for physically running into us. Like his other attacks really don't work on us, like his breath attack and whatnot. So we really don't have to worry too much about that. So again, best just to keep our distance as much as we can from him. And we can just sort of screw attack right into his energy blast. And there we go. So Ridley is down. Again, the very first time I fought Ridley, he was just so tough. It took me months and months and months to actually beat him for the first time. So we're going to open this middle door up here, and this middle door over here, so we can get the energy tank that's in this room. Of course, this room is to signify that the BB Metroid has escaped, and in fact, there are other Metroids. Of course, we already knew there were other Metroids, since we've already fought other Metroids already. Like, it's just a really, really cool reveal to basically show, like, this is where Ridley took the baby Metroid once he escaped the station. So now we got to sort of fight our way all the way back out from where we came in. And for the most part, since we're full on ammunition and health, we can just sort of fly all the way through there with the screw attack. Of course, running through lava doesn't help our cause, but... Alright, so there's only one more boss remaining, and that's Mother Brain. Basically, what we need to do is go all the way back to Criteria, and then basically navigate our way down to Turian from there, which is basically near where we actually started the game. And no, not the area where we actually bombed out where Mother Brain was. It's in a different area. And these enemies are annoying to take out if you just use the plasma beam, but if you use the screw attack to just jump into them, it's a piece of cake. Now, you can actually jump through there without getting hit. I, of course, am just being lazy at this point. Just jump through there. And we can just use most of our power bombs anyways. It's not a big deal that we even use them at this point, since we're not going to need too many of them when we actually go to Turian. Alright, so now we're going to go up here. And now we're going to go this way instead, because this will actually lead us back to the surface where we need to go. Now, if we get this guy just right, we can actually jump to a secret area. Of course, his head has to be positioned in a very specific position, like so. So we got more of these light bright guys. Again, they're a lot easier to kill now that you have the screw attack. So now we got our energy tank. There are only 4 more energy tanks. We will probably get at least one more, since it is on the way to where we're going. But for the most part, we're pretty much done with energy tanks at this point. Now we basically have to wait for him to close his mouth before we can shoot him. There we go. Again, you can get stuck there pretty easily if you don't know the exact measurement of where his mouth is supposed to be. So we're actually going to want to go this way, because this is sort of lead us back to where we're going. Of course, we've got more missiles here, because why not? We're getting close to the magic number of 125, is usually where, like, the ballpark I usually shoot for. That's really only, like, one other missile power-up between now and Mother Brain. And we will definitely get at least one more. So again, this lava actually does hurt us, unlike the other type of lava that doesn't. So here we can sort of just shoot this guy through the ground. He's not a big deal. Just jump up through here. And we are sort of back to where we sort of started. We're back to... Like, you can definitely tell because the music's changed, so it's inching you closer to where we sort of started back in Norfair. And this is, of course, is actually where we got the wave beam for the first time. Again, these enemies are way easier to take out now that we have the plasma beam. If for some reason you actually didn't go over here and get this item, You could now if you wanted to, since you have the screw attack to jump all the way across there, rather than actually having to use the grapple beam. Again, most of these areas, you'll probably just see me jump through here like this, just to make our lives easier. And it doesn't even matter if we go in the lava, because we are immune to the lava. We'll actually go down here, because there's actually a missile power-up down here. Boom. So there we go. We've reached the magic number of 125, which is usually the most I usually get in a single run if I'm not going to for 100%. Or at least the amount I try for anyways. If we get more, we get more. But now we can't actually go through there. We have to go through the top. And we got a ball jump up there. Again, there are other items in Norfair that we haven't gotten yet, as far as missile power-ups, super missile power-ups, power bombs. That's really it. For the most part, we don't really need any more, so we're actually okay. And super missiles were a little bit low, but we actually can probably grab a couple more power-ups if we really feel like we're going to need them. I actually don't think we're actually going to need too many more super missiles, to be honest. Now we're back in Brinstar, and we can actually make a couple choices. If we wanted to go straight to Mother Brain, you could actually just go straight all the way up to the area where it leads back to the wrecked ship. But we're actually not going to take that path. We're actually going to take a different path to get there. So we actually don't need to go to the energy fill tank. We'll just jump up here. We don't even have to worry about these guys now with the ice beam using those shenanigans anymore. So we're actually going to go this way because there's the last reserve tank and some other helpful power-ups that we may as well grab since we're going this way anyways. Plus, this is actually a one of the faster ways to actually get to Mother Brain from Ridley's place is if we go this way. Again, there's a secret up here if we use the bomb at the right time. But I'm not going to bother going for it. It's a lot of effort. Basically, if you are able to squeeze in a bomb form there, I believe it's a super missile power-up that you can get there. So we're back at this area where we got the charge beam, and basically when we got the charge beam before, I showed you this before, where there's a little power bomb door here. The reason we actually waited to go here is because it leads us to an area that basically is only really doable if you have the gravity suit, which we have. So we're actually going to want to just run through this area. Because you need the gravity suit in order to be able to run through the water properly. You just go there. So, of course, this is one of the remaining energy tanks. We'll probably get one more as well on our way out. So, again, we'll really only be missing 2 of the energy tanks, which honestly isn't a big deal. And the final reserve tank as well is actually in another area very similar to the one where we learned the wall jump. And by learned, I mean when we learned, in quotations, the wall jump. Basically, it's another one of the animals that teaches you a different ability. This time it's going to teach us how to use the speed boost, which, again, you've seen me use a couple times, but you're going to learn how to use the upward charging ability. So if we speed boost through this area, it'll open this this chasm here. Now, in theory, you could actually jump out, but if you hit the top area, what actually ends up happening is basically you will run into a section where you can't use... You have to use the speed bump to get through here. So we'll just use the speed boost there to jump right through it. Alright, so we're going to go all the way back down here, Because while we can actually go through the top area to get back to where we're going, I'm going to show you the little trick over here. The other way to get back to where we're going. Back to Turia. I mean, yeah, back to Turia. So if we go over here, normally you could get through this area if you didn't have the space jump, but it's just so much easier with it. And these guys are a joke. Usually you would actually take them out with the power bomb, but we don't need to do that. So we'll power bomb this wall and grab this particular power bomb power up. And this will actually take us back to where we first got the morph ball, which is pretty cool. Now, before we go all the way up, there is one other power-up I want to get in this particular room, which is actually the other room that we started, and we sort of avoided this area before. Okay, so we'll want to unlock this area. Oh, let me just grab the energy tank that's over here that I almost forgot about. Boom. So we'll once again use the speed booster ability that the little dodo that I sped by would have taught us if I actually let it. You have to get right into the exact positioning there in order to fly all the way up. So once again, this area you really can't do without the gravity suit because you need to be able to jump that high. So in fact, there's not one, but two missiles in here. There, we're now up to 135 missiles, so we've increased our chances of having zero problems when we fight Mother Brain. There we go. We just hop out. And they can't really affect us if we're morph balled there. So basically we'll just use the elevator and then the climb to actually get us back to Criteria, which will actually be pretty close to where we're going. And this is sort of the final roundup. If you actually need any more power-ups before you go to Mother Brain, this is the time to do so. And these guys, piece of cake. So easy. Just the very, very slow-moving ball of death to just murder him. Again, the climb wasn't really too difficult for us the first time, since we actually know how to wall jump, but it's literally just use the space jump to just go all the way up here, and the enemy, we don't even have to worry about firing at the enemies or even avoiding their shots, because the space jump totally avoids all of the damage that we would take when climbing this pit. Now, once again, here we could go straight to Mother Brain, but there are two things in near our ship that we're actually going to want to get first before we go to Mother Brain, and I'll show you where they are. And again, we could go for even more missile power-ups if we were feeling bold here, but we're not really feeling bold here. Okay, so here what you're going to want to do, easiest way to do it is just to get your speed going, and then jump with the space jump, and we're going to want to jump up here, because there's two paths we can go down. We're going to go down the path on the right first. Just use our power bomb here. And we got ourselves some more power bombs. Of course, that is the Wii U Virtual Console menu once again. God damn it. I mean, I love the fact that it's so convenient, but I keep hitting the right trigger, which causes the Wii U menu open. Alright, so before we go down the other path, we'll actually just quickly restock on all of our items, and to do that, all we have to do is go to Samus's ship and then press down. Because this will allow us to save, and it'll restock all of our stuff. So then we don't have to do that later. Plus, we can save because we haven't saved since killing Ridley, and I don't want to fight him again. No. No. Alright, so once again, we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're just going to use the space jump to jump all the way up here to this suspicious-looking cavern that's not suspicious at all. And we just sort of jump our way through here. Again, this section is very much made for the space jump, and it assumes that you already have it at this point. Because in theory, you could access this area if you use the wall jump, but you wouldn't be able to actually get through those barriers without it. Or it'd be a huge pain in the ass. So here we got an energy tank. There's only one left, and I know where it is, but we're not going to bother going all the way out there to go get it. We just jump out there before the lava touches us. We're going to just jump through all this stuff. So now this will actually lead us to where Turian is. So all we have to do is go through this area. Now we can blow these sections open to get the missiles. However, you would actually have to go through this area twice if you wanted to get the missiles on both sides. Since we are really, really, really good on missiles right now, there's no real reason for us to go back. There we go. And these enemies, we had to use bombs on them before, for fuck's sakes. They're just so easy just to take out with the plasma beam. So of course, we got this really, really, really cool looking area here. Very, very unique area. And of course, here is the statue indicating all the bosses. If you stumbled onto this area on your own, it would basically show you the different bosses you have to go fight. When I first came here, I was like, what the fuck does this even mean? Because I hadn't killed any of the bosses yet, but now it all makes sense when you eventually get here. And it shows you what bosses you have left. Because basically, if you continually revisited this area throughout the course of the game, the jewels would disappear off the enemies that you've actually defeated. So if you'd only defeated, let's say, Kraid, it would show you that you'd have Ventoon and the other two bosses remaining. But now that we've killed all the other bosses, we're going to wait for this to open and go kill Mother Brain. Mother Brain, by the way, the worst villain in Captain N, the Game Master. She was very, 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 very poorly portrayed in that game, in the sense that she wore lipstick and had teeth and talk like this. Yeah, it was really, 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 really bad. Let's never again speak of Mother Brain, Captain N, the Game Master. By the way, great show, despite the fact that almost all the video game entries were very, 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 very poorly portrayed anyways. Especially Mega Man. Oh my god, Mega Man. Don't even get me started about him. So here we've got the real Metroids. Basically, what you have to do in order to beat them is you actually have to freeze them first, then pump them full of missiles. Now, you can actually use one super missile on these guys, or a bunch of little ones. I usually just prefer to conserve my super missiles for later, or in dire situations. Speedrunners, though, will almost always use super missiles on them, though, instead of regular missiles, since it is way faster. And these are the real deal Metroids. Like, I was really fucking afraid of these guys when I first came across them. Because, again, since this was... I mean, I played Metroid 2, where the Metroids are nowhere like these particular Metroids until the very, very, very end. I didn't really know how the fuck you were even supposed to beat them, because I just kept firing missiles and other things into them. I'm like, oh, you're supposed to freeze them and then shoot missiles specifically at them? It's really, really, really weird. And it was like that in the very first Metroid as well. So here again, since we have the wave beam, we can actually just shoot right through the barriers and not even deal with these guys. Again, they're pushovers. They're basically just excuses for us to waste all of our missiles, even though they instantly replenish our missile stock. So, of course, this area is just really, really, really cool. It's just a sandy area with a bunch of enemies you really can't kill. And then, of course, you're like, what the hell? Why? There's this Chozo statue here, but why is it all fucked up? And again, all the enemies are just totally dried up. They turn to sand. And, of course, we got another one of these big guys. But oh no, it's a giant Metroid! We gotta run away. So, the giant Metroid has been eating all of these guys. And of course, very, 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 very difficult to get away from the giant Metroid. And it just eats us. Of course, there's no real way to get it off. Except for the fact that it's actually not really here to harm us. Because it realizes Samus realizes it's the baby Metroid that she saved in Metroid 2. That turned into a giant-ass Metroid. It's like the biggest Metroid in this whole fucking game. So again, to stop the annoying counter that says that we're going to die soon, first of all, I'm going to blow open this wall, because we're going to replenish our missiles in just a second. There's actually a conveniently placed missile and health recharge station right here, just in case we used a bunch of missiles on Metroids, for example. Alright, so we're sort of in the home stretch here. We're actually almost at Mother Brain, almost at the final boss. And we're just going to just run through here. Again, once again, the eye enemy indicating that we're basically about to hit the final boss. Of course, there's an area in here. We're going to save real quick. Again, this will be the last time you have to see me save. And it's basically, if all else fails and for some reason we die. Again, Mother Brain isn't too difficult. She's actually a lot more difficult in Metroid Zero Mission, I find. I think that's probably, out of the 3 versions of Mother Brain that you fight in the original Metroid Zero Mission, in this game, I think she's actually the most deadly in Metroid Zero Mission. Despite the fact that it's actually just a remake of the first game. For the most part, Mother Brain in this fight is more meant as a story-based novelty and less about having a really, really difficult boss. Because for the most part, the really difficult boss in this game was supposed to be Ridley and not Mother Brain. So here we're just going to knock her out of our cage. And in the original Metroid, all you had to do was basically do the same thing. You'd navigate an area similar to this one, knock her out of her cage, and then you just kill her here. So, of course, this is normally how you defeated Mother Brain in the very first Metroid. Of course, this is Super Metroid, ladies and gentlemen. So that actually doesn't happen here. In fact, we're going to fight a much bigger boss. Again, this fight's really, really, really awesome. Again, it's really, for the most part, meant to just be a story fight. It's a fight, really, you're not supposed to actually win. Which is just really, really, really cool. At the time, I don't remember anything like it. Which is something you've really heard me say a lot about Super Metroid. Again, it is a very, very, very unique game. It was really, like, cutting edge at the time it came out. So again, we're basically just trying to wear down Mother Brain. She's only vulnerable to the head. Of course, she's going to use a giant energy-draining attack on us here. So we got to sort of watch out. Now, this attack can actually kill us if we're not careful. So we just got to sort of be careful with it. It's really just meant for story purposes in order to totally drain all our health. It's not really meant to do any serious damage to us or anything. God damn it! Alright, it's gonna fire a third time. Alright, finally. Again, if you actually are able to get back up here, this fight could actually kill you and you would actually have to start over again. Which is just a really annoying glitch, especially because it's trying to have you waste all your stuff on purpose. So she's about to blast us, but then we are saved by the baby Metroid, who sucks all the power out of Mother Brain, which is really awesome. Like, as a kid, I didn't actually know that this was actually a thing that happened in this fight. So eventually when the baby Metroid popped out, I was like, yes! Like, it was just the greatest feeling in the world having the baby Metroid save us. It's such a great moment in this game. So the baby Metroid is going to refill all our health. Looks like we didn't even need to use our reserve tanks for anything, really. Of course, the baby Metroid is going to shield us from Mother Brain while she refills our health and gives us the crazy ass beam. Yes, I'm calling it the crazy ass beam because it shines a bunch of different colors. Boom! So the baby Metroid has been defeated and Samus is pissed. She's like, what the fuck? So of course here's our chance to go all out on Mother Brain and totally destroy her. Again, you could die here if you played really sloppily, or if you had, like, 5 energy tanks, but we've got all the energy tanks we'll ever need to defeat Mother Brain here. Of course, we don't have any more power bombs anymore. I'm sorry, we're just out of power bombs. So there you go, Mother Brain has been defeated. She's just ahead now, apparently. And this is really the last time you fight Mother Brain, because she doesn't really appear in any of the other Metroid games, which is kind of crazy, except for the really dumb twist in Metroid Other M. Spoilers for Metroid Other M. You shouldn't play that game anyways, it's really bad. Alright, so of course, what would a Metroid game be without an escape sequence where we have to escape? In fact, it's so good that in Metroid Zero Mission it makes you escape twice in the game. And we're not even talking about, like, the escape at the beginning of this game. I don't really count that. Now, we have a choice here. We could leave the planet right away, or we could save the animals. The thing is, the animals taught us so many great techniques, like the wall jump and the speed boost jump. So, you know what? I'd say we save the animals. Generally, this is actually a big topic of discussion when people do speedruns of Super Metroid, because you will lose precious frames, but you save those animals from being destroyed by the planet. Now, the real question is, if Samus planted a bomb on Zebes, why the hell is it causing the planet to just blow up like this, despite the fact that the bomb actually hasn't gone off yet? Or why is there lava flowing in this area? You know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because why not? Because it's a crazy space adventure, so why wouldn't there be lava and the entire station blowing up, even though the bomb hasn't even gone off yet? God damn it, I missed it. So once again, basically it's just locking off all the other entryways, just to make sure I don't do something dumb like go off the beaten path. Of course, here we're going to go over and we are going to go save the animals, because you can't lock off this path from you. So of course we're going to go to the area where we fought the Bomb Guardian for the first time, the Chozo statue that attacked us. So of course here's the animals here. We're going to blast open an entrance for them so they can escape. So now we've done our good deed, and now we can finally escape from this goddamn planet. So all we really have to do is get to Samus' ship, and this will be it. Yeah, we jumped totally over it. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that'll do it. We beat Super Metroid. Woohoo! So as we escape, I'm going to do very similarly to what I did with the Mega Man Let's Plays, where I'm going to sort of let you guys watch the ending, and I'm going to sort of bow out here. So I want to give you all the rigmarole before we get to that point. Of course, we're just watching the planet explode. And also, you'll notice a little blip go across the screen when the animals escape from the planet. So again, I want to thank you guys for watching my Let's Plays, and specifically my Super Metroid Let's Plays. It's been a lot of fun to do these, especially because Super Metroid is my favorite game of all time. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think about Super Metroid or my Let's Plays, or I don't know, whatever else you want to talk about. If you want to talk about shoes, we can talk about shoes, fine. You can find me on Twitter, at Ryan Turford, that's Turford. The operation was completed successfully. Clear time 0221. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Ryan Turford. As I mentioned, if you're looking for a new video game podcast to check out the Game Moose podcast. I co-host it every week with Drew McMillan. All the deets are in the comments below on iTunes. Anyways, that's going to do it for this Let's Play. I want to say thanks again for watching, and enjoy your day, and take care. I'm out.